Welcome to a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda.
Good morning. Could we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to the September 25th, 2013 Lorain County Board of Commissioners meeting. Commissioner Williams has the dog today.
Well, I can't believe that we have a basset beagle that's not barking. So most of the beagles I know are barking all the time.
The microphone's not on. Sorry.
Start all over.
Low battery.
Low battery? Uh-oh.
All right, can you hear it?
Yep.
All right, we have a basset beagle mix here, year and a half old. Great little dog, found in South Amherst. If your dog come claim it, if it's not, it's going to be available on Friday. So come out, take it.
Madam Clerk,
Do you want to do the first two right away?
let's get
then?
those first,
Okay.
yes.
Mr. Keith Bailey, Solid Waste Director, and the presentation of the Swan Award.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Mr. Bailey.
We brought the blue ice back with us, all right? So, very proud. This is our first award at the Collection Center, and I'm sure there'll be many more yet to come. This award comes from 8,200 members of the Solid Waste Association of North America, which spans all of Canada now and most of the U.S., and even Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico has a chapter. So we have the blue ice here with. We're hoping to get a picture of the commissioners today with the award. We won the bronze level, and this is the reason the director is visiting us on October 17th. So.
What exactly was the award for? What did we do?
Special waste. And I
was
have
it?
the program here with us that you can look at, all right?
Okay.
All right?
So you want a picture up front? All of us
Yeah.
up front? Okay.
That's what you want.
Come on,
Okay.
commissioners. Recycled, right? Recycled material?
Got it? Great.
Fine job to everyone in solid
Yeah.
waste and our vendors and everyone who helps make this come together. Nice job, Keith.
Very nice.
Madam Clerk?
And then we'll do our presentation with Kristin Whiteman, Job and Families on the Affordable Care Act.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kristen.
My name is Kristin Whiteman. I'm from Lorain County Job and Family Services. You see me here for contracts on a weekly basis. I am here to present about the Affordable Care Act and integrated eligibility. And integrated eligibility is just basically our new system. We used to have a CRISI system. If anybody's familiar with it, it's archaic. It's over 30 years old and a DOS-based system. So we're moving progressively into a new system, and it's due to the Affordable Care Act. So what is integrated eligibility? Basically, it's a new computer system, and it is a secure customer portal that people will go into online, complete their portion, and then it will come to us. It'll increase our effectiveness. It'll make us more efficient. It will be better in the long run. At the beginning, though, there are going to be bumps in the road, which is one of the primary reasons I'm here to tell you. Don't expect everything to be running smoothly October 1st. It won't be. But in the long run, this is a better option for everyone. We're not the only state going through this, and every county will be going through this as well in the state of Ohio. So every county was charged with county readiness. So we all got together, and every county appointed certain people to represent their county, go down to meetings, get information, provide feedback back to the state. The counties are very important in this. We will be processing the applications, and the state recognizes our importance. We were given many tasks. This started about late May. The counties became involved. I'm the county coordinator for our county, and we have a readiness manager as well. She was not able to be here today. She is our trainer, Amanda Jones. So we were giving various tasks to do on this program, like getting the people ready for the program, assigning certain duties for the program. We're not all going to be able to get on the system at once. We were given a limited number of slots, for example. That was our first task. Figure out the 30 most important people that need to be on this program. As time rolls on, the whole agency will be on it. So we are also limited in the staff members that we have to work in this program to begin with. Just to let you know, every county received green, and green is good. So we're all as ready as we can be for the October 1st deadline. This is the timeline. Now, this is all subject to change and has changed already. So phase 1 is when we get the first group of people into the system. They're called Magi people. Basically, think of family Medicaid people. They're the first ones that'll come onto the program. In phase 1.5, you're looking at your non-Magi people, so your aged, your blind, your disabled individuals. They will be next. So all of Medicaid will be on first, and then the subsequent phases. So phase 2, you're looking at your TANF, your cash assistance, your food assistance. And then phase 3, the very, very last phase, are all other programs that deal with income-based eligibility. We're talking HEAP, possibly even free and reduced lunch. So it's a one-stop shop. It makes it easier for the clients that are applying. They only have to go one place, and it'll be a great system.
And it's all done online?
It'll be all done online, yes.
What if people don't have access to the internet?
If they don't, they can still file a paper application, and we can put it through. There is a phone application we can do as well. We are discouraging phone applications, but we will take them if necessary, because right now how the phone applications are set up is they have to go through another group of counties for them to be processed. There are certain stipulations, certain recordings that need to be done, so the state is handling that. But we can do it any different way. We would never discourage anybody from applying, especially if they don't have internet. Why now? It's all because of the Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act requires online, real-time, web-based applications, which our old system could not do. What is Magi? Magi is a new way of looking at the income for these people as well. It's modified adjusted gross income, basically off of taxes for the most part. We'll go into that. They have mandatory go-live dates, and our mandatory go-live date's October 1st. We're going, and we're starting it then. Even though we start October 1st, these people will not be eligible until January 1st. So if somebody is looking for Medicaid now, they'll apply the old way. If they're looking for Medicaid starting January 1st, they'll apply the new way. So right now, we don't expect a whole lot of people coming in between October and January. But January 1st, probably a bigger influx of people. It also delinks Medicaid from the other programs for this point on. For a certain period of time, as you could see with the phases, Medicaid will be separate from the other programs, and then they'll join back together. The modified adjusted gross income is a very much easier way of doing the income. Our income budgets were crazy. Disregards, everybody was doing manual budgets, and I can say that our staff is very happy to move to this because there are no disregards anymore. You're looking at the income, and if you have to, you're looking at maybe a 5% disregard, if it even comes to that. So it's so much easier. And this new system also has real-time verifications. There are certain things that we have to verify for Medicaid. Citizenship, income, things like that. This system, once the pinging feature works, will do most of that for us. So it will be able to contact certain hubs in the federal and in the state and verify somebody's social security number, verify somebody's unemployment. So we don't have to ask clients to bring in verifications. It makes it easier for them and easier for us. We don't have to wait for those things to come back. Right now, we were told the pinging aspect, the federal hubs and the state hubs were supposed to start October 1st as well, and they are not. So the best case scenario is that they start mid-October, which is still not bad. And then we'll be able to tap into that information and make it easier for our consumers. It's also going to improve the access to coverage. Right now, there's 150 Medicaid categories. They're very confusing, very convoluted. This will basically put Medicaid into 2 different categories. And people they can still qualify through their employer. They can qualify through the federal exchanges that are coming out as well. If they're not eligible for Medicaid, they can go through the federal exchange if they don't have insurance by their employer. This is a really good chart that kind of explains what we cover, what we don't, where the federal exchanges kick in. The blue area is Ohio Medicaid, and it covers it at different levels. You're looking at children 0 to 18 without coverage up to about 200%. You're looking at parents at 90, disabled workers, and then disabled under 65. You can see in the yellow where the federal exchange will hit. So those people will be covered under the federal exchange, and then there's the childless adults, the coverage gap. Right now, they have no coverage. If the expansion passes, those people will then be covered under Medicaid. Currently, we've been told that it does not look like it will pass for October 1st. Does not mean that it won't pass for the future. If those people are covered, that will lead to a huge influx of cases. Applicants can apply many ways. They can apply through the Medicaid site, or they can apply through the federal exchange site. Both sites will then route applications. If that person's not eligible for Medicaid, we'll route it to the federal exchange, and vice versa. That routing process also will not occur on October 1st. We were just informed. We're looking at mid-October for that process to kick in. So for a while, what it means to our workers is that we're going to be using 2 different systems. Not only will we have to put a case in the old system if they're looking for food stamps or cash assistance, then we're also going to potentially have to run it through Medicaid. It might still be in the old system if they want Medicaid now, or it might be in the new system if they want it in the future. But eventually, we'll all come back together and be one big happy family again, running by one system. In phase 2, you have your TANF, your other CRISI dependent programs. Child care is not expected to be part of this system. I'm not quite sure why. They did do a very huge upgrade in the last few years, and they will stay in the CRISI system, but everything else will move over. And then in the subsequent phases, phase 3, you're looking at HEAP, WIC, other housing programs, which will also be added in. So we've been gearing up our employees for this whole process, and they're really excited. We had some of them go to Columbus for training. Training was very good. We were able to work in the new system hands-on. It is so much easier than what the old system was. So they're really excited, but we have to change our whole thought process. The way of processing cases like we used to is gone. This is new way of thinking, and we're prepared to start that. We also have a lot of Medicaid policy changes. How we look at the groups, how we look at people's eligibility, that's changing with the system. And we also have frequent and open communications. We've been emailing our staff every Friday, letting them know what is going on. We're not leaving any information behind. Everything that we know, good, bad, or indifferent, is going to them, so they're prepared for this. General expectations, I'm here to tell you is we're going to have an increase in phone calls, which means you're probably going to have an increase in phone calls as well. We're prepared for that. Our call center just went through training yesterday. We will deal with the phone calls as we can. Like we've told our staff as well, there are gonna be bumps in the road. Everything is not gonna run smoothly. It doesn't run smoothly in the current system. It surely is not gonna move smoothly with this. But we will deal with those bumps, we will move past them. Changes in how Medicaid eligibility is determined, it's completely possible that there are some, very few amounts of people, but some, who weren't eligible in the old way of doing rules and are now eligible in the new way of rules. And there might be some people who are not in the long run. And all depending, especially if expansion passes, there will be an increase in Medicaid cases. That is what I have to present to you. Do you have any questions for me?
Actually, we had a discussion, I was in Columbus, commissioners meetings on Friday, and the discussion was, because they've got a gentleman overseeing, used to be the JFS director in Franklin County, is now overseeing it for the state.
Yes, Doug
And-
Lumpkin.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and well, Laura Awabsi is our person at our CCAO, and they said it looks like it's gonna go better than what they expected, though, from the training they put into it, so hopefully, because Chrissy was a nightmare,
Absolutely.
so it's been a major issue.
And while you're
so-
running two in tandem, it's gonna be difficult until we're all the way over on the new system.
Right. We expect there to be problems, especially with the limited amount of workers we have. We only are allowed currently 30, and 15 having access to actually work cases, the other 15 just being able to look at it. So they're telling us that even before all of the phase 1.5 occurs, that we're gonna get more slots. We need them. We need these people to be in there working the cases. So I'm looking forward to having all of our staff trained and in the new system.
Is there a date for that?
No date yet.
No date yet. So the current staff then will just hand off the cases to the 15 people who can actually do the work?
Absolutely.
And you said there was online
Give him
enrollment?
Jim's phone number.
Yeah.
You said there was online enrollment ability too?
Yes.
Yes.
And this also with those new kiosks, the self-serve in the lobby, you'll have, they can come in and put it in those too?
You can apply the old way through online, and you can apply the new way as well. On the current on the landing site, which is benefitsohio.gov, it will ask a series of questions, so that particular person knows which avenue they need to apply in. If they apply online, they will fill out their information, and it will ping these different hubs. If by a miracle, we don't need to do anything, that case just automatically gets finished, which makes it so much easier for us, and we only have to spend time on the more complicated cases. If by some reason something doesn't verify, that's when it'll fall down to the counties to process. Maybe the income isn't matching up, or the social security number does not match up. Then it'll fall down to us. Now, if the client isn't eligible at all for Medicaid, then it's also supposed to then go over to the federal hub and look at potential eligibility over there.
Now, what's the notification process that the residences or public notices going out and such?
Yes, there'll still be notices. They will be system generated, and we still have the ability to handwrite or type up notices as well.
If the Medicaid expansion goes through, what's the volume you anticipate on the increase from Lorain County?
The state had told us that we're looking at about a 23% increase statewide. I'm not quite sure if that would be applicable to our county or not, but that's what we're kind of gauging everything on. And from what I've been told, it doesn't look like it may pass until maybe January. Hopefully by then, we have more people working in the system to then take those cases on.
Numbers they had given were somewhere between 8,000 and 11,000, I think they were saying for Lorain County. Were the
With the
numbers they were talking
expansion?
about. Yeah, I believe with the numbers they were talking here, they had a bunch of bullet points on, so.
We can handle it either way.
Madam Clerk?
Under Resolutions Number 1, Job and Family Services Bills,
So moved.
Second.
discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Investments,
So moved.
Second.
discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Appropriations,
So moved.
Second.
discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Transfers,
So moved.
Second.
discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
No advances, no repayments, requisitions,
So moved.
Second.
discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Travel,
So moved.
Second.
discussion. Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Bills,
So moved.
Second.
discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Under the Commissioners, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within jurisdiction of Lorraine County Commissioners.
Mr. Cordez?
Thank you, Commissioner. I do have a number of potential personnel actions with regard to hiring at the Golden Acres Nursing Home. Solid waste, excuse me, 911, and that may be it
Dog
with
kennel?
hiring. Excuse me, that's the one I was looking at, and at the dog kennel. Also, I would like to, if time allows, brief you and update you on ongoing labor negotiations with regard to Job and Family Services, and also the potential sale or purchase of real estate. All of those topics are allowable for executive session discussions, so at the conclusion of our regular board meeting today, we go into executive session and talk about those items I've outlined. Thank you.
Approve and waive the reading of the minutes of September 18th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Establish deposit and fee regulations for costs incurred in the process of vacating a public road.
The clerk told me this morning, Commissioner, that you'd like to pull this. There's an issue going on. you're
Well,
working on.
I don't really necessarily have to pull it, but I would like to exempt House of Praise from this, this fee, only because I've been working with them for a little over a week, trying to vacate a road that was in the process about a year ago that
I
was
remember working with them. They told
pulled.
me about a week. Yeah, they
Right.
pulled Russell Street.
Yes, exactly. So we can go forward, but I would just like to exempt House of Praise from that fee, only because it's been a pending issue.
Also move with that adjustment.
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye. Oops.
She added twice.
I know.
You want to vote? I'm sorry.
He said
Take
I
that
would
away
make a
from her.
motion.
How did you go
We're
second?
all aye.
We,
You were making
went
the
out of-
change. You were
Because you
making
made
the
a change.
change.
got it,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, I
second.
guess, yeah, just a
Good thing I
creature of
pay
habit.
attention too, huh? I know. Enter an agreement with Cuyahoga Group Maple Heights to provide full-service vending program to various county facilities effective October 1st, 2013, with county receiving commission of 15% net vending sales.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Under Community Development, approve the semi-annual revolving loan fund report for the period January 1st, 2013 through June 30th, 2013, as submitted by Community Development.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, actually, it's a little bit. We had our CIC meeting yesterday morning that I chair, and this is our notice to send out. We're approving it after the Lorain County Economic Investment Development Corporation approved it, and then we'll have some changes coming to some of our local rules.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Under EMA Homeland Security, enter in a state-local grant agreement with Hazard Mitigation Grant Program with the Ohio Department of Public Safety for Lorain County Emergency Management Agency Homeland Security Office in the amount of $25,598, which is being funded federally by 75%, 12.5% state, and there is no local county match, just man hours, effective retroactive July 1st, 2013 through July 10, 2015. This grant is to provide financial assistance for development of an all-natural hazards mitigation plan for cost-effective hazard mitigation activities that complement a comprehensive mitigation program and reduce injuries, loss of life, and damage and destruction of property.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Under Job and Family, amend Resolution 13472 adopted May 15, 2013, extending the TANF Summer Youth Employment Contract to November 15, 2013. Authorized Director to execute on behalf of the Board to amend in content and increase with prosecutors' approval as to form.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Under the Engineer, approve and enter in contract with Richland Engineering Limited, Mansfield, in the amount of $80,195 to provide preliminary engineering studies, environmental coordination, right-of-way plans, and design-built scope for Hughes Road Bridge replacement in Pittsfield Township. Authorized engineer to execute on behalf of the Board with prosecutor's approval as to form and paid from the engineer project bridge account.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Approve and enter in Jobs and Commerce Economic Development Agreement with ODOT to set forth responsibilities and provide funding in the amount of $200,000 to complete preliminary and final design engineering associated with Cooper Foster Park Road widening and reconstruction project within the cities of Amherst and Lorain. This funding is being provided by TID, which was approved by TID 13-2 on June 4th, and Office of Jobs and Commerce approved funding on September 9th. Authorized engineer to execute on behalf of the Board of Prosecutors approve as to form.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Approve and enter in Jobs and Commerce Economic Development Agreement with ODOT to set forth responsibilities and provide funding in the amount of $250,000 with Village of LaGrange to provide the remaining financial resources to complete the widening and reconstruction of Center Street. This funding is being provided by TID, which was approved by TID 13-2 on June 4th, and Office of Jobs and Commerce approved funding on September 9th. Authorized engineer to execute on behalf of the Board of Prosecutors approve as to form.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Approve and enter in a Jobs and Commerce Economic Development Agreement with ODOT to set forth responsibilities and provide funding in the amount of $250,000 with Village of Sheffield Village and City of Elyria to provide the remaining financial resources to complete the Abbey Road widening project. This funding is being provided by TID, which was approved by TID 13-2 on June 4th, and Office of Jobs and Commerce approved funding on September 9th. Authorized engineer to execute on behalf of the Board of Prosecutors approve as to form.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Cortez?
I have no further comments this morning, thank you.
Mr. Ennis?
I do have one matter of pending litigation that I would like to discuss in executive session.
Commissioners report.
I don't have too much of a report. I just want to thank all the people that came out to Oberlin for the Dog Eating Festival. We had a nice turnout. Got to judge all the different dog competitions, and it was a lot of fun. So enjoyed that, and it was a great day out in Oberlin. So the end of my report.
I think I covered most of us. We had the CIC meeting yesterday and then all day in Columbus on Friday, just going over state rules that have changed. So that's about the end of my report. Commissioner Williams?
Okay. Actually, I've been receiving a lot of calls. I spoke with the prosecutor in regard to the sick time and our policy. And going back, reviewing the Ohio Revised Code and the Administration Code, bouncing around, looking at it. We're not actually we're not completely following the Ohio Revised Code with our procedure. And Jerry, I'll bring you into the conversation as we spoke about this. I think to make it easier for all elected officials and departments would be to change our, basically, our process to mirror exactly what the Ohio code is.
And what's
And
the benefit or the what's the difference?
in the code?
Well, the difference is, right now we give 250 hours.
Correct.
The code is 240.
Correct.
And it is, you have to bank, you can only cash in 1/4 of your banked hours up to 240. Today we give an hour for hour. So if they get 250 hours, or 240 hours, right now we give them the full amount, 240.
We cash out the full 250.
Right.
Rolled
Right.
it back from the 1,000.
But under the Ohio Revised Code, they would only be entitled to 1/4 of that.
Oh, 1/4.
And then the difference is Ohio Revised Code is 10 years, and retirement is when you can cash out. We're currently at 5 years. So instead of having a different procedure, we would just mirror what the Ohio Revised Code is.
I'd have to see the language, Tom. I
Yeah,
don't-
it's
you gotta send it to me.
124.39B. And that, Jerry, did I state anything incorrect on?
No, I think you've stated accurately, other than under the code, it also only allows for a one-time, once you cash out, takes care of everything, no matter if you cash out 5 hours or whatever. It's a one-time thing.
What does that do in regards to our policy with the 50% compensation under?
Well, it doesn't do anything to that policy, but it will also caution that we're in year and a half into a 3-year cycle on negotiations. I spoke with
Yeah.
Commissioner Williams on this. So those contracts will run for several more years with a different
Current
policy.
language.
Absolutely, and because we've adopted a strong strategic pattern with our bargaining, it's highly unlikely that while we're in the middle of the cycle that we'll be successful at negotiating that into the last few contracts that we do towards the end. So we're about 1.5 to 2 years from starting another round of bargaining. You can't position us in pattern and bargaining and hold that line, which we have successfully done through fact-finding and conciliators award, and then expect people further down the line to take that pattern but also decrease what they've
Alter the pattern.
what they've gotten for their membership. It's going to be very difficult to do.
It would be challenging to do. We could do it with the non-bargaining units first.
You could. I was just speaking to the
Yeah, I know.
contracts. So.
But we would wait until the new round of contracts come, and then we would implement that, or it has to be bargained? We can't just implement?
With the bargaining units, it has to be bargained.
Okay.
It's a benefit.
The last time we bargained this issue, we reduced it to the 250 hours.
I thought we just did that. I didn't know we had to
No.
bargain that.
We do. We can, as Commissioner Williams appropriately said, you're free to change that policy.
For non-bargaining.
For non-bargaining. But one detail that we also need to be aware of is that this would put a freeze on the people that were under the old policy. You cannot unilaterally give them something, have them work under that assumption over a number of years, and then one day strip
Take
them
it
away.
yeah.
Right.
So it'd be for new hires going forward, similar to our policy, 5 that we
Well,
passed, new
well,
hires.
Well, no.
The way Commissioner Williams explained it to me, if I may,
Yeah, go ahead.
is that everybody would be frozen at a current level
Of sick time.
if you had 150 hours and you're under the 250-hour policy. You'd be able to still cash out that 150 hours. So you wouldn't have lost anything, you'd be frozen in time. What I spoke to council about on this, putting it together, you most likely would, the language have to look at something like the 150, or if the state policy was more generous, either or.
Right.
So that they're not restricted to one, they can take the greater benefit. So if they retire, they could cash out more hours at retirement. If they don't retire, they can cash out the 150 that they were frozen at. So this way you avoid a legal hurdle with regard to an accumulated benefit that was promised and then not given.
It would be my recommendation, Commissioners, if we did something like this, that we very clearly define in the resolution what the grandfather repercussions would be, so that we don't have any question in the future who falls where,
So employees prior to November 2005, if they have already accumulated their 1,000 hours, would receive their 1,000 hours. If they were under the 1,000 hours, they would be frozen and would not be able to receive any more unless they were under 240 hours. And then they would have to go by the Ohio Revised Code. So an example would be if they were at 140 hours, just to make the math simple, they would have to accumulate 400 hours in order to get the additional 100 hours.
Well, Commissioner, at this point, I would want to say, it's as Ted said, because it is,
You said
Yeah,
it
so
won't further the code,
complex.
Tom, no offense, but if you read 6 other codes.
Oh, I know.
6 other ones, if it's not.
Right,
something-
I mean-
You know, I spent the entire weekend in between soccer games reading the code, and trying to do it on a tablet where you're bouncing back and forth is very confusing.
yeah, just for example, I was looking at 12439. The statute is 1.5 pages, and then there are 12 pages of cases. Every single word in that statute has been the subject of decisions and
Right.
court things. So, really, every time you're fooling around with this stuff, you just have to very carefully try to figure out what it is. And that's my only suggestion. My only suggestion is when we, right.
Well, I'm not asking for the resolution today. I'm bringing it up as a topic
Right.
Yeah.
point.
Right.
Definitely
because-
something
We'll
I think we
discuss.
should
Right.
look into.
I'm just suggesting that when we enact it, we try to anticipate every question. And that's been the problem. We just haven't,
Yeah.
obviously nobody, even when they wrote this in the state, has been able to anticipate every little nuance that, you know, but you can try to anticipate what you can so that you can
And even
have
when you
that.
do it, sometimes doesn't get across to the right people.
Right.
And I think going forward too, it's going to make it very, we can say we're following the actual code. So it's simpler, no one, hopefully no other elected official gets confused on it.
Well, then we have to adjust it when the state decides to adjust it again. If you make
Correct.
that policy, that's,
Well, it's
so
just
you
like
end up
we're-
bouncing up and down, and
Yeah.
that's why I think we went with the current and added the 10 hours, made it 250 from 1,000. And when's the last time that code was changed or challenged, Jerry? Did you get a chance to look through it, or no? At least I'll go through all that.
The code?
Yeah, that where you said all the arguments of every word. When's the last time that was altered?
Oh, I don't think the statute itself has been altered for some time, but
Okay.
yeah, there's almost something every year that comes up regarding what exactly is.
Says or meaning.
My recollection is about 2008, there was a whole series of decisions and rulings as to what it meant, because there was some change in some state law at that.
Tom, can you just send me that link?
Yeah.
From the OAC
Yeah. And then
Administrative code.
the other thing I wanted to bring up, just to have Jerry take a look at, sorry, I'm giving you so much work today, Jerry. We talked about this before, and you said it would have to be brought up in public hearing, was our current process, our procedure regarding individuals who carry weapons, either open carry or concealed carry. Today, we don't allow them to keep the guns in their vehicle locked on government property. I believe the law has changed on that. I know it's changed where if you're picking your student up or your daughter up from school, you're allowed to take your the gun on the school property as long as it's not removed from the
Okay,
vehicle.
the law allows you to regulate buildings.
Right.
With respect to grounds, yeah, you know, we cannot regulate public. We can regulate our employees.
Mhm.
We can impose employee restrictions.
Yeah. And what I'm looking at, we had an individual that had this, that came up, and we just talked about it. I didn't know if there would be any interest into changing that policy to allow employees to at least bring it on to the parking.
No interest.
Okay. Ms. Kokoski?
I said I didn't have a problem with it being in a vehicle as long as it's not brought into the building.
Right, and I'm not looking at having them bring it into the building. It would be bringing it, if they bring it to
As
the car.
long as it's locked up in, like, the
Right.
glove box or
Well, it would be, have to be locked in the car.
trunk.
It would be locked in the trunk or no? It's allowed to be sitting out on a seat and locked in window view?
That would be a non-concealed, that would be open carry, wouldn't it?
Well, open carry, Jerry, I'm
Locked
gonna
is
have
a
to
very
bring you in
broad
this
term.
because I know it's changed so much, I don't wanna get into it. Is a car now extension of your home when it comes to open carry?
Well,
I
I'm
think
going to
we-
give you
we-
the
we
same
could-
answer.
we could regulate it
We can
where
regulate our employees.
It's gotta be in the
on
glove
county
box or in the,
property.
in the
Yeah.
trunk.
Right.
We can't regulate the public who pulls up in parks.
Correct.
We don't have any ability to
Right.
do
No.
that, but under our own employees
Employees.
is our ability.
Right, so if they're carrying, if they put it in their glove box or in their trunk, we could state that in the government policy, correct?
Right.
So, would you be,
It's something I'd look at. I'll look at that.
okay, all right. And just bring it up as we've had employees that are doing more carries, so. All right, well, this weekend, I actually just want to congratulate the Cleveland Inferno. It's my daughter's soccer team. We were up in Michigan, and while it's no fun to ever go to Michigan during the college football season, we had a great time up there. She played keeper, did an outstanding job. Very proud of her, very proud of the team, and looking forward to the next tournament coming up in October. It's actually great weather up there, no rain. Got to see a lot of talent. I mean, seeing these girls at 13, 14 years old, and the aggressiveness that they have on the field to win, and the dedication, diving on balls when you have others
coming in to try and score. Very impressed by the Cleveland Inferno and the local teams that were in the tournament. End of my report.
Madam Clerk?
Tuesday, October 1st, Commissioners meeting at 9:30, also the Straw Hag Ditch hearing, and then Wednesday, October 2nd, Commissioners meeting at 9:30. Board correspondence?
Move the reading be waived.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Public comment?
Anyone wishing to address the board this morning?
Come
Come on
right
up. Just have to introduce yourself and tell us where you're from. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Alex O'Rourke from the Elyria Animal Hospital. I'm here on behalf of some of my clients who have been complaining about not being able to get their dogs spayed or neutered in my clinic when they adopt from the county kennel. They are forced to go to 4Pets Clinic in Avon, and this is a recent policy. I don't know how many years it's been in effect, and we have not been able to get an answer to why we cannot provide that service or other veterinarians in the county cannot provide that service to county dogs.
I'll defer to you,
well,
Commissioner.
We have an arrangement with Fido's Companions who actually transport the dogs for us, and we have an agreement with 4Pets Clinic that they would do it for $100, which I don't know if you'd be willing to.
Absolutely.
For $100?
And I'm sure that if given the chance that many veterinarians in the county would do that. Listen, you have clinics far closer than 4Pets Clinic. I mean, Fox Animal Hospital is a couple hundred yards from the county.
Right.
So you don't
Well,
need
most
to transport them.
veterinarians say that $100 doesn't really barely cover the cost of a spay or neuter, that it actually costs more.
It does.
So it would be like a service or a, something that you would
Charitable
do.
service.
A charitable service.
Yeah, so we've done that in the past, and we'd be willing to do that again.
Maybe a transportation issue. I don't know what Fido's
Yeah.
Companions discussions were, so.
Yeah, I have
That's
to
your-
check with Fido's, but I don't see a problem, adding to the amount of veterinarians that are willing to do the spay and neuters for only $100.
Okay. Well, how do we go about getting this worked out?
Mr. Cortez, do we need to, what do we need to do to
Well-
open this up? Do we?
I think I've had multiple conversations with you on some of my unsettledness with regard to procedures at the kennel.
We haven't had a warden for a while, so we're hoping when the new warden is hired, we can get some of these things.
The first thing we need to do is stop catering to some of these groups that seemingly want to help us but complicate our lives.
Well, which group was supposed to pay us?
The one that Commissioner Kokoski was referencing.
They're not paying us?
Well, yeah, we had an issue with the.
Well, apparently
See?
one of the folks told one of the commissioners who,
And also Fido's, that we had plenty of money, that we didn't need their money.
unbeknownst obviously to the people that were doing all this, because I found out about it well into this process that they weren't paying for anything. And of course, we don't have plenty of money, and we've been running in the red, and we've been depleting our reserves.
Right.
So I have some real difficulty with the way animals, the cost of euthanizing them right now, the cost of the spaying neutering program, which we're only supposed to cost us a fraction of what it's costing us. So if you leave your information, I'll certainly communicate with you, because I'm looking to provide new leadership at the kennel, and with that leadership, I'm going to revise almost all the ways we do business with regard to the treatment of the animals there, because we can't sustain what we're doing right now.
Sandy Strosak is in the back. If you give her, she's with the cream-colored.
Yes, that's it.
Can you talk to her and give her your information?
She keeps me in line, so I'll make sure I get back to you.
Yeah, I would suggest, Doctor, that you or any other veterinarians that wish to do something like that, just send us a letter, and maybe we'll prepare a list of people that we use.
Well, we have an average of how many dogs we spay and neuter.
Well, we
each.
spay all of them.
Well, I know
unless
that.
they've already been spayed.
I know that, but we should have a trend of how many we do each year. We could get a base number on it. We could do basically a public bid and award a contract to everyone on lowest bid.
Well, actually, I just got, Dr. Wood actually offered to do it for nothing as a service. So,
Here's the unfortunate.
that's like the lowest
Okay.
bid when you do it for free.
Since we're going to go a little further in the conversation, let me also explain a few issues. The the rescue group is providing the transport. So they do have a little bit of a stake in this, even though they haven't paid their share of what they indicated they would early on. So I have to look at what their portal to portal is, what relationship they may have. If they're going to participate and they're going to pay and start paying, then we have to give them a bit of a stake in the decision on how we do that ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to bear the entire burden of this, then we'll make the decision independently. I would highly suggest that. But
And then we'll also have a higher cost to transportation if we're transporting two different claims
Well,
across the
that's-
county.
And
Well,
we're
that's-
using our guys to do the transporting would be a
Right, and that-
costly thing also.
So there's a few things I want to look at. The other piece is as indicated to you on the euthanization of those animals that have not unfortunately been chosen for adoption is right now we're paying $100, and that's not counting the portal to portal cost of bringing them for that service. So we can't sustain that.
I told you yesterday, I want whoever the dog warden is to take the class necessary to be able to do the euthanizations
Right. on
site.
So those changes are structurally going to come pretty rapidly. And I want to look at this whole thing. Is the board still committed to spay and neutering every animal that leaves the clinic? I mean,
Yes.
that was a relatively new policy in the last couple of years.
Well, I think the last year, actually.
Probably so.
Kinda like a
Because it has
trial run.
caused some unrest with some of the people adopting animals, and then some of these animals have been in for spay and neutering and had problems with parvo, and then we get blowback from the community on that because when the dog was there, then they invest in the pet, and only to have it become deceased because of the parvo, and we do everything we can to keep the parvo out, but sometimes it doesn't show up for a while. So it's made it a little challenging, especially since they now have to wait several days for the pet to come home, so to speak. It used to be a lot easier when they just walked out that day after they paid their fee and they took it home.
Right, they would transport their own pet to whatever.
The
Actually,
problem
We used to do that, but they didn't
Right,
get
I
the
understand.
dogs spayed or neutered, so the majority of dogs were not being spayed or neutered.
And
Right, I
the
worked
intent
at-
is to lower the amount of strays and antibiotics.
Right.
A lot of people adopt dogs and then don't take care of them. That's why
Yes.
we keep having more dogs.
Right, I worked at the Cuyahoga County Kennels at the beginning of my career, and that was the issue. They would, about a third of them would come back.
Right.
So that was a problem, so.
Yeah, doggy
So, okay.
recidivism is
Yeah.
quite high.
Didn't we adopt one of the dogs out that you?
3 times.
3 times, the
3
same
times.
dog we adopted out 3 times, yeah.
But I'll
It's a
definitely, I anticipate changes in how we're doing business over the next 30 to 45 days, and I will certainly be in touch with you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Appreciate you coming up and bringing it to our attention.
Thank you.
Good morning, Bev.
Morning. Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Bev Beidleman. I'm the Chief Deputy for Ron Nabokowski, the Legal Division. Going to change from dogs to people a little bit. When we were talking about the cash out for the sick time, and, we were referring a lot to elected officials, you have to remember, too, that was an incentive for the workers, too, that really don't make the salary that some of the elected officials make. And if they find out that they're going to end up getting less and less sick time when they retire, they'll probably just start using more and more and more of it, and then you'll have less people at work. So I think it's a great incentive for those that come to work, 30 years they come to work, and then when they leave, it's not like they're taking from the county. They've made a big an investment over those 30 years, and so they're just receiving what they invested into the county.
Well, they would still get the 240 hours.
Yeah.
That's stated in the code.
Mhm.
But the code states you have to have 4 times that amount in order to do it. So by today's standards, the individuals are actually getting the 240 hours, and they still can cash out additional 720 hours in sick time. So
So they still can get paid for 720 hours of sick
no,
time when they
no.
retire?
What I'm saying is,
Oh.
under the code,
Mhm.
it states that you're entitled up to 1/4 of your bank sick time, up to 240 hours, right? Our
Mhm.
procedure right now is 250 hours. So if you have an individual who gets 250 hours, they hit the maximum on it. Today, it's 1 hour for one pay. You know, it's hour for hour.
Sure.
Here in the code, it's 1/4, or 1/4, I'm sorry. 1/4 is what it's actually stated.
I guess I come from the old where we had before the 2004 where we had the 1,000 hours. So I guess when I hear the big debate about the 250, you know, it makes you.
Well, if somebody would have 1,000 hours today, we can't take away what they already received.
Okay, so
they would still have that. They would have the time that they already acquired.
Okay.
But
because it almost sounded like you were talking about trying to even change that.
Well, what,
No, it would be going forward, Bev, on new hires going forward. I don't.
Not the ones in.
Well,
You don't have to take it back down to the current. You can always do a time certain when you start that policy also.
But part of what Commissioner Williams suggested does affect that. If you were here in 2005 before the policy changed to 250, and you currently have 500 hours, what was proposed, what we discussed, was that you'd be frozen at that 500. You wouldn't be able to accumulate up to the 1,000. You'd be frozen at your current level. Is that
Yep,
accurate?
that's accurate. And that's
So-
something that other communities are doing.
Yeah.
The biggest problem is when you allow someone to go up to the 1,000 hours,
Yeah.
you're paying them at tomorrow's rate. And it's becoming a burden on the taxpayers because how many times, Lisa, have we had $30,000 or $40,000 payouts of individuals when they retire?
Yeah.
And then we're going to extend it, and this would be, again, for individuals who haven't reached this time period, that you would have to do it in 10 years or upon retirement.
We
And it's
just
really
have to
getting it
remember,
match
though.
what the state
Yeah.
code is.
Sure.
What all the other employees throughout the state are getting.
There's just so many people that even when the workers like at McDonald's, they were marching for like making $15 an hour minimum wage. There's a lot of county people that don't make $15 an hour.
Right.
So it does look like maybe you're thinking down the road that'll be a big cash out, but for some people that will not be a big cash out.
And Bev, you mentioned when you first started talking about elected officials versus
Yeah.
employees. The elected officials we don't get sick time or vacation time.
That's
So
what
this
I
is not
thought.
about elected officials. This is all about the employees.
Okay, because I thought I heard somebody mention we can
Well, I
stop the
was
elected
referring to
officials.
Other elected officials who, when they got appointed to office, they cashed out their sick
From
time.
county work
As they
previously.
were county
Right.
employees at one
Yeah.
point.
But think about the employees, because like I said, a lot of them do not make a lot,
We know.
and they've invested a lot in it. So if you go back taking away from those that had that 1,000 hours already, you know, it's just something to think about.
Yeah,
Just
well,
food for thought.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't take any of the hours that they have away
Okay.
from them. It's just what they could gain if they
Okay.
don't have it. I have a question. You said you're in the legal division.
Yes.
How many people are in the legal division with the?
Legal, we have 32.
How many?
32.
30?
That considers records department, domestics, criminal, bookkeeping, civil.
How many attorneys are on staff?
One.
Just one? Okay.
Yep, just
I
one.
thought you said you were an attorney as well last time.
No, I would never say that. Too many attorney jokes. I'm glad I am who I am.
Try being a politician.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bev. Anyone else looking to address the board this morning? Mr. Bailey?
Good morning, Commissioners. Again, I remind you, we have ag tire collection tomorrow in the parking lot at the collection center. So we're expecting over 1,000 agricultural tires. So
Wow, wonderful.
the grant from the EPA allowed us to do this again this year. So
Wonderful.
I know the township trustees really appreciate that, talking with the farmers and that. They did give me one suggestion at the fair, and they said, could you come up with a time when it's not during crop season?
that's the problem with the grant. You know, this is the EPA that's controlling these dollars and when they go out. So that's the reason it's where it's at, the time
Maybe that could be a
frame.
suggestion from our solid waste sent to the EPA.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, they pay a lot of attention to us.
Yeah.
Do you want to come up?
You look like you were coming up here, moving pretty quick.
I didn't know it was my turn. Good morning. My name is Kristine Miller. I'm Assistant Director for the Human Trafficking Collaborative of Lorain County. I met Mr. Williams briefly at National Night Out that we had in August.
Yeah.
And I am just here to give some basic information about our program and that we're here in this county. We've been here since 2009. Since that time, we've worked with about 40 victims of human trafficking.
How many?
40, right here in this county. And that's both men, women, boys, girls, and that's both sex and labor trafficking. We do have a 24-hour-a-day hotline number, which is 440-714-1380. We work with FBI, local law enforcement, and we provide them services ongoing, whether that's case management, basic needs, food, shelter, water, any of those things. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone is aware that that service does exist here in this county and that we're working our tails off.
Can you explain with the human trafficking when you spoke about it at the Sheffield Night Out, just for the general public, what that entails, what you get involved in?
Well, we get involved in a lot of stuff. Human trafficking is basically the buying and selling of people. And whether that's for money, whether that's a trade-off, what have you, people don't need to be moved to be trafficked. They can be trafficked right out of their own homes. Some of our illustrious motels along 57 are a hotbed for trafficking. That's because Lorain County sits right on major thoroughfares, whether that is 90, the Turnpike. We're a stopover point for a lot of that. We are currently working with about 9 victims who were trafficked either right here in this county, out of homes, whether they were enticed by friends or family. Drugs, unfortunately, play a huge part in that, and we have this unfortunate heroin problem that's just running rampant. So that's, and we deal with these girls. I mean, we've given them, clothes, provide them with the referrals for counseling services and things to that effect.
How does it different, like with individuals involved in drugs? How does it different in prostitution? I mean, are they doing it themselves, or are they having individuals who are putting them out there and keep them captive, or?
Well, I mean, it's a power and control issue. Drugs is a huge, unfortunately, a dangling of the carrot, before the horse. But, most of the girls, and I'll use girls because they make up a large proportion, they have a pimp. You cannot really work without having a pimp anywhere. Because that's just, they control it. It's a huge underground network of folks that are working, There's big money. This is a $32 billion a year globally industry. And it's second only into drugs, in dealing of drugs. And people are getting more involved in the buying and selling of people because the laws themselves are just slowly catching up to this crime. And you can sell a person over and over and over again. You sell a drug one time and it's gone. So that's why, this is going on. It's people don't want to be out there selling themselves, 10, 15 men a night, 7 days a week. They just don't want to do that. A lot of them are being forced to do it. Facebook, is a big one. Kids are being found up on Facebook, and so.
It's unfortunate in this day and age.
Yeah.
It is. It's sad. And so,
unfortunate.
just so that our service is also to provide education. We do it free of charge. We are a nonprofit. We are a 501c3. We don't have money, so we work out of our cars in my garage and what have you. We pay for our hotline ourselves. But, if anybody would like additional information, we would gladly come out, free of charge to provide that information to schools, which we do. We've spoke to, thousands and thousands and thousands of people up to this point, but there's always
Keep up
somebody
the
who
good
doesn't
work.
know. I'm sorry?
Keep up the good work.
We will try.
We'll have your phone number put on the screen, so if anybody wants,
More
anybody watching
information, that'd
this.
be fantastic.
Right.
All
Okay.
right, thank
Thanks,
you.
Christine.
Jerry, could this fall under any part like domestic, what she's describing, or no? The only reason is I know through the marriage certificate sale, that goes for like domestic abuse and that, so groups who are aiding individuals who are in domestic abuse situations could get part of that funding from the county.
You're talking about
Victim and
that
witness,
Yeah.
that's
That
prosecutor.
funding is for those that provide shelter for women and children.
Right.
Of
It is-
domestic.
I don't know if it says domestic, but it's.
Well,
it's
actually, the code doesn't
abuse.
say women and children, it's just domestic.
Well,
You
and
could
I
have
know
men
that there
involved.
is also funding that's out there too, that they're trying with the rape crisis piece, being that these women are technically being sexually assaulted, that monies that are coming in through those crimes, having to pay money to register as sex offenders, because traffickers will have to register as sex offenders once they're convicted. But any way that we can finagle any sort of monies to come to us, we'll take it.
Okay.
And if they wanted to give me a written description of what their proposal is, then
Okay.
I'd have to compare it to whatever the funding source is to see if it matches up.
I don't know if you would, if that would help or not, but you have Mr. Ennis willing to provide
Okay.
some of his time. so.
All right, that's wonderful. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Other group members not that home that you talked to?
Anybody else?
Anyone looking to address the board this morning? Motion to go executive session is outlined by the county administrator and county prosecutor.
Second?
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
This has been a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda for a printable copy of the agenda.